What is up, gamers? The Red Dragon here, and we are covering the top stories on VGM. So the other day I told you about some new terms of service wording that showed up on some of the UK sites for the PlayStation Network. So we have a response from Sony, so I wanted to go over that. First, let me kind of give you a refresher of what we were talking about. So on the UK terms of service, there is this section called Resell. It says you must not resell either disc-based software or software downloads unless expressly authorized by us, and if the publisher is another company, additionally by the publisher. Now, some people have asked, what exactly is disc-based software? Some people said it's talking about businesses reselling games. Some people have said it's talking about piracy and ripping off, something. But if you scroll up to the top, the defined terms tells you what software means. So authorized systems, it means PlayStation 2, 3, 4, whatever. And software means a PlayStation game and application software developed to operate on one or more authorized systems. So I know some people are reading this and saying if software means PlayStation game, then if you can't resell disc-based software, if you substitute software with game, it says you can't sell disc-based games. Well, Sony has responded to this. Yoshida was asked about this by Gamasutra. They did an article talking about the new altercation on Sony's UK site. Yoshida said the following: "That's the terms of service on the European side of PlayStation Network. We have no DRM, no new DRM at all. It's just a legal thing. People can sell PS4 disc games just like we've been saying publicly. Legal people come up with these things." So there you have it. Terms of service are just a legal thing. So of course the thing people worry about is whenever things are left open like this and it's really vague, then you could argue in court for anything, and it looks like they would be able to do that. But the thing is, they're not going to stop you from selling or reselling your Sony games. They've been saying that publicly for a while. I even mentioned that in the last video. I said I don't think that's going to change, and no, it's not. But I think this paragraph does fit really with what Sony's been saying, because they've been saying, you have to have our permission, and now you have to have the publisher's permission as well. And this way they can say you can still resell your games, if it's made by us, but if a publisher down the road decides that they don't want you to resell their game, then they have that capability and they can cut it off. And you're okay with that because these are the terms that you have agreed to. And both Microsoft and Sony have said that they are leaving it up to publishers to implement any DRM if they see fit. Now, after this story broke, other media sites did start rating the terms of service, and they did start reporting on other elements. Now, one of the sections that I think caused the biggest run as far as the media goes was this section called "Are We Monitoring PlayStation Network?" And it says, yes, but we can't monitor all PlayStation Network activity, and we make no commitment to do so. However, we reserve the right in our sole discretion to monitor and record any or all of your PlayStation Network activity, and to remove any of your user-generated media at our sole discretion. Your use of PlayStation Network and our community features may be recorded and collected by us or sent by other users as described. Any information collected in this way, for example, your user-generated content, the content of your voice, text communications, video of your gameplay, the time and location of your activities, your name, your PlayStation Online ID, and IP address may be used by us or our affiliated companies to enforce these terms and the SEN terms of service to comply with the law. By accepting these terms, you expressly consent to this. They also mention that this information can be passed on to police or other appropriate authorities. But this language is probably in pretty much anything that you get online with. And I don't think, just like with Microsoft, a lot of people were concerned about that. Probably if you go read the Microsoft terms of use, it's in there as well. I mean, Sony and Microsoft, they do have to monitor the PlayStation Network and the Xbox Live. If somebody is reported for harassing or sending death threats, or they've got something in their profile that's not supposed to be there, whether it's a bad image or whatever else, then yes, they have the capability to go in there and to look at that and to decide whether or not it's legit. And if not, then they have the capability to ban you or to remove it or whatever else. So I think this is more just talk that kind of covers themselves. Terms of service, it sucks because so many of these, I mean, you agree to them all the time, but you probably don't ever read them. And even if you read them, they're written in ways that isn't so simple to understand what you're actually agreeing to. And of course, this is not just Sony. We're talking about every company who has a terms of service. It's pretty much like this. I think actually the Xbox and the Sony terms are actually a little bit easier to read than a lot of other places go, but still some vague wording definitely in there. But in the end, I think you're going to be able to, one, sell and resell your games just like you can today, just like Sony's been announced, just like I told you in the last video. I didn't think that was going to change. I also think that the monitoring and all that other stuff, I'm not concerned about that. So I don't think that this would be anything by a long shot to cancel your PlayStation 4 order or anything else. But I will say this, if you ever have questions, whether it's about this or anything else, especially if you're signing on to something and you don't understand it, ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. I don't care how many people try to tear you down for simply asking what this means if you don't understand it. And, you know, you shouldn't just automatically assume that it's all going to be peachy and that, you know, if I sign it, it's going to be okay. You know, a lot of times it will be okay, but not always. And you should know what exactly it is that we are signing up for. So anyway, never be afraid to be informed or to ask the questions. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and information, stay right here to this channel and also to VGN, videogamesandnews.com. Post your comments below. Let me know, what do you think? Do you think any of this means anything? Does it concern you? Or are you okay with it's just legal talk? That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.